In this video, I'm going to explain the flaw in Einstein's acceleration-gravity equivalence principle, where Einstein said that gravity is indistinguishable from acceleration. And that could seem to be true if we were looking at it from a flat Earth perspective, but when we look at it from a globe perspective, it can't be true. It doesn't make sense. The surface of a planet cannot be accelerating outwards in all directions at the same time. Now, Einstein used a thought experiment of two people in a sealed box, both boxes identical. Inside each box is a person. One box is on the surface of a planet, the other box is being accelerated through space. In the little cartoon that I've drawn here, the guy on the left is on the surface of a planet and the guy on the right is being accelerated through space. And as you can see, they both experience a downwards force keeping them to the floor. However, because the Earth is not flat, we can distinguish between the two. And here is how. If each person has a tennis ball in each hand and they raise it up to the same height and they drop it at the same time, the guy who's on the surface of a planet, his tennis balls will arrive at the ground slightly later than the guy who's being accelerated through space. And that's because the guy on the surface of a planet, his balls will take a longer path to reach the surface, because gravity is the geometric of the space-time fabric. It's not a force. And both balls will head towards the centre of gravity, which is not directly down, it's slightly to an angle. Now, because the planet is so large, the difference is going to be tiny. It could be as much as fractions of a millimetre, but the important point is there is a difference and you can distinguish between the two. And my channels on YouTube keep getting taken down, seemingly because it really pisses off particle physicists and Big Bang physicists. They can't face the truth, they can't handle it. And when I had this up on my last channel, I had 160 videos up, put up over 4 years, and this was covered in one of the videos. And there's a video response by the Science Asylum, who took this idea and put a video response trying to debunk this. He didn't credit me with my work, which isn't cool, but it's no surprise that he didn't mention me. All of these science channels on YouTube, they all know about me and they all know my work, and for whatever reason they're afraid to step out of line, or they just can't get their heads around the real model of physics, just like the Vatican mathematicians couldn't accept that the Earth revolves round the sun. But in his attempt to debunk this, what he said was this only applies to a uniform gravitational field. Now, the problem with that is there's no such thing as a uniform gravitational field. Gravity is curvature of the field and it's distortion of the field, and there is no uniformity with gravity. It's just nonsense. It was a cheap attempt to try and rubbish this, and it's false. And it seems he's just going through with textbook stuff like a lot of these pop physicists do. They just regurgitate what they read without actually thinking through what's being talked about. So if you watch the Science Asylum video, just be aware that just because it's popular and because they have money backing them and because they're supported by the industry of the Big Bang and the particle model, doesn't mean to say it's correct. Look at the physics, look at the quantum physics. In some of my other videos and in my theory of everything, I show that space-time fabric at the quantum level, it is composed of nodes held together by elastic type pipes, which string theorists have mistaken for strings. At each quantum block, we've got 27 nodes held together by connections to the central node at any point in the space-time fabric. And through these nodes and these connections, there is a fluid that runs called the ether. And when you get waves in this ether, that's what we detect as photons. The vortexes speed through electrons, like little propellers being propelled through this network. I'm not going into too much detail about how electrons are formed here, but just that they are twisted by their photons being twisted into rotating waves, vortexes, moving through the space-time fabric. And when they move through the space-time fabric, because of the vacuum pressure, they pull the space-time fabric into clumps. And so the space-time fabric clumps together. And the more electrons there are clumped together, then we get massive objects, and in something like the Earth we have trillions upon gazillions of electrons all pulled in the space-time fabric in together, moving through space at phenomenal speeds. It's mind-boggling, it's really hard to get your head around, but it's true, and the mathematics is absolutely clear. All what we consider particles as in the standard model, protons, neutrons, quarks, bosons, they're all electrons and positrons caught in loops, manifold loops. Some of them are only temporary and they decay very quickly and electrons escape. Neutrinos are ripples in the fabric which emanate perpendicular to the path of an electron, and the reason they have three different flavours is because there is three different lengths of the threads in the quantum block. So as the neutrinos, the ripples emanate through space, they'll alternate between the three because of the curvature in the space-time fabric. It's only natural. Now to get back to the manifolds, some of them are very, very tight and they keep together indefinitely, like in protons. And when the space-time fabric is pulled into these massive clumps, it means that the surrounding fabric is pulled and stretched. I've got another video explaining how that affects the real reason for redshift, cosmic redshift, because it means less energy can get through the more gravity that's in the environment. And if you go back to the two guys in the boxes, you see the guy on the planet. I just drew lines to demonstrate how the lines converge towards a central point. Because the space-time fabric is being contracted with the vacuum pull of electrons and positons pulling it into compaction, it means that the outer threads will be pulled closer together towards the surface of a planet, much closer together than they would be in outer space. But because they're closer together, they are also stretched lengthways. They are stretched longer, which means that the atomic shell near the surface of a planet is quite large. These two circles that I've drawn here represent the outer electron shell in an atom, say of hydrogen. And when it's in outer space, it's quite compact because the path of least resistance is quite uniform. But near the surface of the planet on the right, you can see that because the lines pointing away from the planet's surface are stretched, it means the radius of that atomic shell is stretched, made longer. It's just over 8 points in each, the left and the right. But even though the threads are closer together sideways, still we've got electrons travelling at 1/137th the speed of light. They're still travelling phenomenally fast. They can't cut corners. So you get this spherical type electron shells, much larger near the surface of a planet. And as you go out further, you get more like on the left, where the electron shell is more compact. And it doesn't affect metals. It helps metals because they're stuck together they're more tightly with the vacuum pull. But for biological machines like our bodies and other biological machines, it means that we can't go beyond low Earth orbit, because the atoms in our body act just the same as atoms do in atomic clocks. In atomic clocks, near the surface of a planet, time is recorded as ticking slower because it takes more energy to saturate the electron shell and emit a photon. And just in our bodies, because if we start moving out in the outer space, then our atoms in our bodies start to contract and they start to emit photons because they're pressurizing the ether inside the atoms, and that gives off photons. And that's why astronauts experience flashes of light in their eyes when they try to go beyond low Earth orbit. They can't go beyond low Earth orbit. And unless we figure out a way to stretch the space-time fabric, we never will go beyond low Earth orbit. We never have, and we never will.
That's just stupid, because we sent men to the moon in 1969.
Look, I know it's hard to accept, but the fact's real. You've all been fooled, okay? Let's hear what NASA has to say about going beyond low Earth orbit in the 21st century, 50 years after they pretended to go to the moon.
Is the spacecraft that's going to take humans to explore the solar system. It's the next big step for NASA in exploration.
Called the Orion Multipurpose Crew Vehicle, or MPCV, this next-generation spacecraft will enable America to explore beyond low Earth orbit.
The plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go.
As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
Unlike the previous program, we are setting a course with specific and achievable milestones. Early in the next decade, a set of crewed flights will test and prove the systems required for exploration beyond low Earth orbit.
The kinds of technologies that we're testing out on Space Station are definitely helping us with our goals of going beyond low Earth orbit.
But as I demonstrate, all that work is just a waste of time, because when you understand how the universe really works at the quantum level, you understand that we can't go beyond low Earth orbit in metal spaceships.
That's just 'cause they're pussies, these young'uns. They're not like the real old astronauts of old times. They was real men, tough men. Sir Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, they stood on the moon 100 degrees Celsius in gamma radiation for 20 hours. Now that's real men. I'll tell you, you try and throw this nonsense at Buzz Aldrin, he'd punch you good and hard in the face. It's just a stupid little no band. If that were the case, why ain't everybody making a big song and dance about it?
Okay, well let's see someone confront Buzz Aldrin, someone who Buzz Aldrin wouldn't dare hit. And actually, while we're at it, here's a little bit of a song and dance about it as well. For 50 years, NASA claimed to put men on the moon, despite the physical evidence showing that that's absolutely impossible. That's a lie. They kept it going, but in 2015, Buzz Aldrin thought he'd get away with unloading his dirty secret onto a child, but he was caught on camera. Here it is.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. We didn't go there. We didn't go there. We didn't.
that's more than enough for one video, so if anybody is interested in real science and really advancing humanity, check out my other videos and my 2 mathematical proofs where I prove a second loop impossible in the collapse conjecture and I prove the Goldbach conjecture. Very simple, very unimpressive in terms of mathematical complexity. Very simple, very easy to understand. To prove the second loop impossible in the collapse conjecture, the only numbers you need are 1 and 3. Everything else is logic. And the proof of the Goldbach conjecture is even simpler. So watch my other videos with the real model of physics and check out my theory of everything. It's quite unbelievable, it's quite shocking, it's quite astounding the way the universe really works. Some of the stuff is hard to believe, but all the evidence is there, and there's further experiments to open up entirely new fields of technology, multiplying matter, which in effect potentially means unlimited resources. It seems somebody who was not of this world knew something about quantum physics, multiplying fish and multiplying bread. Free, endless energy, safe energy, loads of stuff. Check it out. doubleslitsolution.weebly.com/springtimetheory.html. If anybody wants to share the song on its own or downloading the MP3 of the song, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll post links. May the force of love be with you.